Thank you for having me. My name is Roger Lowe, and we operate 153 supermarkets, faith-based family business out of Littlefield, Texas. And we're in 5 states: Texas, New Mexico, Kansas, Colorado, and Arizona. And my question today is, one of our biggest challenges as grocery stores owners, like myself, is getting the same pricing and the same deals that Walmart and Dollar General get. And as I understand it, that's illegal. So I want to know when we're going to see some action.
Thanks so much for the question. This is something that we hear an enormous amount of concern about from independent grocers, from wholesalers. I visited a wholesaler last year out in California who shared that the prices that are available to him from suppliers and manufacturers are often higher than what big chains are actually offering at retail. So we see that there is a big delta here in terms of potential discrimination, and that then passes on to consumers that are also then facing inflated costs and prices, which especially in this era where people are sometimes struggling to make sure their paycheck can go all the way, is absolutely critical for us to be addressing. You're absolutely right that certain types of discrimination in this type of pricing is illegal under the Robinson-Patman Act. This was a law that Congress passed back in the 1930s. And, it's a law that has a slightly different set of goals from some of the antitrust laws. It's much more explicitly focused on equal access and prohibiting big firms from using their muscle to get special privileges or special discounts rather than getting those discounts for, for more justifiable reasons. This law used to be so readily enforced that through the 60s, it actually made up a sizable part of the FTC's overall work. But starting in the 80s, there was a shift away from enforcing the Robinson-Patman Act because there were arguments that it was a nonsensical law and that it was really designed to prop up inefficient businesses. That is not my view. My view as a law enforcer is that my job and my obligation is to enforce all of the laws that Congress has assigned us. It's not my job to second guess the wisdom of lawmakers when they passed these laws. And so a big focus for us has been, how do we reinvigorate enforcement of the Robinson-Patman Act? I'll be honest, when you're coming in and a certain law or a certain provision of the law has not been enforced for many decades, it can take some time to really build up that skill and muscle again to figure out, how do we use this tool? So that work has all been underway. We have a terrific team in place that's really done a deep dive on this law and figuring out how do we use its provisions. We've been continuing to meet with and hear from independent grocers and folks across the supply chain to make sure we have a real understanding of what kind of discrimination might be happening. And so, for example, we've heard about discrimination on price, but we've also heard about discrimination on what types of sizes are even made available to some businesses or not. And so there might be, 1.5 liter bottle of olive oil that's the most popular, but that popular bottle might be only made available to the big retailers and not the small ones. And so it's been interesting to hear about what are the different dimensions on which we're seeing discrimination. Sometimes that happens most clearly on price, but it can also happen on other dimensions that might be problematic as well and creating distortions in the marketplace. So we've been really focused on getting a full 360 view, figuring out from a law enforcement perspective, how do we start using this muscle again? We're doing this work with an enormous amount of urgency because we know that this has huge consequences for people and for businesses across the board. And so oftentimes we're not able to move as quickly as even we would like, but we're hopeful that in the coming months, the public will start seeing some of the results of that work.
Thank you.